got brass. Here's my note page on the Savage MSR-15. That's it. That's all I have. No, I'm going to talk about several things in this GRV. I always do. I just don't need to write them down. I already know what I want to say. I reviewed my desert notes. Didn't spend the time transcribing them here. And if you don't know, TMPers, this is usually out of frame right here. So if there's something I want to mention in the review, I'll just kind of glance over and say, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Something I found out in testing, maybe during research on the gun, something maybe I missed, I try to include it in the GRV, if and when I can. Pretty cool looking tabletop, by the way. We got a Glock 34 up there, you got some mags. I got two versions of the Savage MSR-15. Two. This is the Recon model with a free float rail, different trigger. This is actually the upper only, I'll explain here in a second, the patrol model of the Savage MSR-15. And then we're going to add this very sick, long gone Cuda Max 5.5 and D2. Woo! I think I reviewed this back in 2009 here in the project, and it's just going to ride right there. I like that. That's cool. Good looking blade, man. I'm never selling that ever. They've come out with different versions of this lately. I say lately, in the last 5 years, but none are this big. They're all smaller versions, and none with that cool titanium blue coloration of handle. Look how thin that is. Turn it into a knife review, I guess. Back to the Savage and my lack of notes, apparently. I'm glad Savage came out with it. I really am. I do think the market is saturated with AR-15s. It has been for 10 years, especially in the last 5. Everybody's putting out ready-made AR-15s. You see a la carte AR-15 options, and you see a lot of AR-15 building going on. I was teasing Springfield Armory about the Saint in that tabletop review. You know, all in good fun. But big picture, getting serious, it's a good thing for the market to have this. For gun guys, that AR-15s from major manufacturers like Ruger, I'm talking a DI AR-15, in this case Savage or Springfield Armory, that's good. And the push we're seeing, especially with the emergence of the MSR-15 version, is you're getting more for your money in a value-priced AR. You're getting upgraded furniture, you're getting some mil-spec features, you're getting higher quality levels. And we'll start here with accuracy. In this Recon model, you're getting 5R rifling. So you're getting a really good barrel. It has a 1 in 8 twist. It's 4140, and it's melanite coated, just like the Smith & Wesson M&P15 Gen 1 was. The current ones, the Sport II, are actually a 1 in 9 twist, non-melanite coated for the M&P15. So this version has the Smith & Wesson Sport beat. I bet you Smith & Wesson, speaking of competition, is going to up their game to compete with the Savage. And they'll come out again with 5R rifle barrels. This is just me guessing. Melanite coating again. And if they don't, they're dumb. Because this gun, for basically a few more bucks, well, this one actually is more than a few. The Patrol actually compares more favorably against the Value Point M&P15 Sport II. They might up their game. They should. See what I mean about competition, though? It's kind of this, hey man, how much we can give the customer for money with the money they're spending. You're getting a lot of gun here. Thanks to Gunny's, the great American gun store, Orem, Utah. Say hello to Wyatt for me next time you're down there, dude. Email them. The email is there in the description. Buy from them to support this reviewing process. I just walk into the store. After hours, Wyatt and I go through the gun inventory, and I go, yep, I think they want to hear about this gun. maybe that one, and maybe I put my own preferences in there. I want to shoot this gun, test this one. Maybe my viewers like it, maybe they don't. And you're seeing a lot of gun tabletops. I could post 10 tonight if you guys would watch them fast enough. 10 tonight, easily. They're done. I don't know when I'll post this or what the chronology will be. So thanks to Gunny's dudes. I walked in there, and while we're going through picking the guns to review, I knew I wanted to review the MSR 15 along with the Saint. I just want to check them out and see where the value point AR-15 is performing these days with the new emergence of these models, or the emergence of these newer models. He gave me this upper and said, hey, a customer returned this already, and he says he can't shoot into a foot with it. Savage MSR-15 patrol model. So it's the non-free floated Blackhawk Axiom handguard, which is also pretty excellent. M-lock compatibility. It kind of goes over the FSB, which is cool, and that is a non-mil-spec FSB. Savage put it together themselves on this patrol model. Still a 1 1/8 twist, 16-inch barrel, mid-length gas system on both of these guns, A2 birdcage on it, and you can see it's well, it's wild chambered, I think. Yeah, I did write that on my notes. Wild chambered 1 1/8 twist. But he said the customer can't shoot into a foot with it. Can you test that along with the Recon model? I said sure. So I scoped this up. You'll see the footage right now or somewhere along the way. Went to an actual range for a change. Wow, so luxurious to shoot at a range. Less wind to cope with, not a wiggly table. I liked it. This is what I came out with, and it was rather unimpressive, bros. This is, what am I shooting here? PMC. Bad group there. I didn't magic marker that one. Horrible group here, probably 5 inches. That's a bad group here with PMC. It looks like a mini 14 group. That's what it looks like. It's not a foot. I mean, it's not horrible, but there's something wrong with this barrel, dude. I probably think there's something going on inside with the rifling, and I told Wyatt, just send it back to Savage, have them look at the barrel. Maybe they cut it late in the process, and the cutters, I don't know, did a sloppy job. And then we're talking accuracy. We're just going to cover it now. I knew that was kind of an anomaly with this gun. I was like, I know Savage barrels are really good unless they're outsourcing them to someone. But I know the Recon model has 5R rifling. This one doesn't. This is going to get you 5R rifling and melanite coating, 4140 steel still. So you're basically talking a really high quality barrel in the Recon model with a free float handguard from MI. This is what I got with that. That's more like it. So here's a group of PMC. I'm going to go fast. That group was unimpressive. I did say, hey, is it mixed lot? I could have different rounds from different lots mixed in there. I try not to do that, by the way. I'm pretty good about it, but just in case. PMC shooting horribly. Rock River will shoot PMC about like this. A really good one. About 1.5 inches, sometimes into 1 inch. But again, there's variances. I mean, who knows? From lot to lot, don't know. And that's this stuff, American Eagle AE223, I think. Yep, right here. Flyer, if it wasn't for that flyer, that would have been a really nice group. Tulamo Steel. Here's the AE223, shooting good. No flyers there. That's a 4-round. These are all 4-shot groups, incidentally. Freedom Munitions, 77 grain. The Recon really liked the heavier loads, and it could have been the same for this one as well. I think I saw that same dynamic with this Springfield Armory Saint. Just over MOA with that one. TAC A, oh my gosh, shooting into easily an MOA out of the Savage MSR-15 Recon model. So this is what you get when 5R rifling. This is what you get with melanite coating with a properly cut barrel. Perhaps not this one, but that one is excellent. And I think that's what you should be able to expect, even with a basic patrol model. Maybe not quite to that level, but pretty darn close. Going back to previous reviews on high-end, overly hyped AR-15 style of rifles that I thought did not deliver that style of accuracy, and I railed on them in tabletop. No regrets, no apologies. Of course, the SKU patrol shows up, but you don't know, at least it's reliable. Well, these were all day reliable. Super high quality, and you just saw the accuracy of the Recon, dude. It's shooting an MOA. And this gun, by the way, is going to be a little bit more because you get more features. $1,000. That's retail. All this is subject to change. Is going to be around $850 for the patrol model. And let's talk about what you get. POU, by the way, is standard. You might throw in stash or gun in there since they are more affordable. Starting back here, and remember what I said about how the manufacturers are up in their game and they're giving you more for your money. Like if you were to look at the Smith & Wesson M&P15 Sport, the generation I did, you had a standard 6-position M4 style stock, standard goofy front end, short carbine gas system. You're getting mid-length gas system on this. You're getting the Axiom buttstock, which I think is pretty good. It's lightweight. It has, for some silly reason, a ventilated huge recoil pad for a 5.56 rifle. Doesn't need it. Carbine. Wiggles a little bit, but so do CTRs and MOEs. And it's lightweight. I don't think it gives much more functionality over an M4 6-position stock, but it looks better. A little bit cooler, and I like its cheek rollover piece a little bit better. This gun, by the way, naked weighs 7 pounds 5 ounces. I think that's not completely naked. That's with a 30-round GI mag with it, which I always weigh them. So 7 pounds 5 ounces. That's a pretty good weight, especially for what you're getting with all the gun. Mil-spec buffer tube. There's no sling plate on it, and that takes us to the Axiom by Blackhawk pistol grip. When I saw this, I wasn't too sure I would like it. I was wondering if I were to buy this gun, would I replace it? The answer is no. I actually did like it. No compartment there to store your doodads, if that matters to you. It doesn't to me, usually. You can still do it, by the way, FYI. If you want to store some battery, a battery like a CR, a button cell or whatever, you can put in a plastic bag, then wrap a rubber band around it, and then jam it in there, and you'll be amazed that it will stick in there and won't go anywhere. Voice of experience. Been doing it for years. You don't need a compartment, and usually it just adds weight. We're talking about the additional stuff you get for your money. We'll come back and talk about this stuff super quick. And then you get the Midwest Industries rail on the MSR 15 Recon model. And I love this rail, dudes. I really like it. It's awesome. It is trim as we are seeing from current generations of rails. I think it features good anti-rotational and lock-on qualities. You know, maybe some of the BCM products are better, but for most uses, I don't think you would ever run this thing loose. Nice rail. And that's additional features you get. Oh, the 5R rifling on this one. And the barrel we've already discussed. Let's start here, though. Where they're going to save some money is an A2 birdcage, right? They're not going to give you a comp. But that's so easy to upgrade later on when and if you want to upgrade it and you have more money, right? Oh, another additional feature is the included BUIS with both models. This is the Recon version. These are not super high quality units, in case you're wondering. They're price point units designed exactly what they're meant for, emergency use. They lie pretty low, I think. Here's your deployment. They don't lock in the up position, but they're included. And I brought a lot of guns to tabletop that didn't have any BUIS on them, especially for this price level. I actually don't mind them at all, actually, for an emergency system, and they're included. I don't have to go out and spend more money. Here's the rear one, and it is simple. I'll show you it more on the patrol model here in a sec. I want to show you how it stows underneath this precision 30 mil mount is what I'm trying to say. I buy these from Amazon. I absolutely love them. They are my go-to scope mount these days. Super light. I write the weight down on it. I think it's like 5 ounces or something insane like that. It's not QR, but who cares? Looking at the rear BOS, this is how basic it is, dudes. It's pretty bad. But it is emergency and it's included, like I say. I think your deployment's right there. There you go. So you press it, again, not locking, single aperture, basic adjustments. And these are not made of aluminum like the Saints are. They're plastic mostly. But you have them and you'll probably never need them. In case you're wondering, that's a BUIS. Going back here, by the way, let's talk about the trigger super quick on the MSR 15. I complained about it, and you may have seen on a target I said something like down arrow trigger. That's not to say it's awful, and it's not to say you couldn't live with it, but it just isn't as good as, I don't know, just for example, Smith & Wesson M&P15 Sport, which I never replaced. I actually like that trigger a lot. A lot. I'll pull it on camera just for grins. It's probably going to pull sub 8 pounds if I remember. 6.2, which incidentally is a lot better than, from my measuring, the Springfield Armory Saint, which was pulling 8 to 9 pounds, and that was, even though it's nickel boron coated, this one's more basic. I wasn't super impressed. Oh, upgrades for the money, and I'm glad to remember this since we're talking about trigger. You are going to get a different trigger on this version, the Recon one. It's actually called the Blackhawk. I've got to look at my notes for that one. Some AR Blaze trigger. As you can see, it's nothing, I don't know, totally impressive. 6 pounds. It's okay. It's going to be a mil-spec trigger on the Patrol because different price point. Again, around $850-ish, around $1,000. So the upgrade you're getting with this one, free float rail, better trigger, 5R, and the furniture should be the same, by the way. And you're getting folding BUIS on the Recon as opposed to a fixed front sight base on the Patrol, as you can see here, which is annoying. So if you ever decide, it is pinned back there, if you ever decide to pull that off this mid-length gas system barrel, it's a project to put a free float on it. I would probably right out the gate go with a Recon. In fact, that's the model I'm going to recommend to you guys. Just go get the Recon. Spend a couple of $100 extra bucks, which will lead us to the discussion. Well, dude, you know, I just build my AR-15s these days. I don't buy ready-made. I hear you, bro. I do the same thing. I really love building ARs. I get exactly what I want, and I know they're going to perform. And actually, I just showed you on both of those guns, my AR builds will dominate it. Go watch my reviews. Like the best AR-15 build in the world, we're shooting half MOA out of the guns I'm putting together. But they're not cheap. They're not value points. Ones I put together, these are expensive barrels, like Odin Works barrels, maybe a BCM barrel. And it's just money. So I'm building an AR that's going to be costing me $1,500. But I'm talking high-end stuff. But the way these are shooting, you're looking at already made, and it's shooting almost to that level with certain ammunition loads. I kind of like it. And like this one, where it's might have a rifling problem, and by the way, I'm just guessing at that, you have a warranty department you can send it back to, right, dude? How cool is that? So if you put an AR-15 together, then you're like, well, what's the problem? Is it my optic, my mount? Is there a gas system problem, a vibration problem? I would hope you guys would go first to the barrel, but how do you know by looking at a barrel? You don't. So it's a lot of time pulling off components, pulling off the front sight base, sending a barrel back. I don't know. Be advised. I'm just saying. Back to this part, though. So we talked about the trigger, standard AR-15 controls, standard charging handle. They're going to save a few bucks there, right? I like extended charging handles. I always put them on. Let's take a super quick look inside. I think this bulk carrier group has some mil-spec features in it, what Savage is doing. I'm talking like MPI, state gas key, all the stuff you would expect, M16, BCG, M4 feed ramps, all the standard stuff we've seen in AR-15s, even value point AR-15s for a long time are in the MSR 15 series. Let's flex over to reliability, shall we? How about 100%? I don't remember any jams whatsoever in these guns. Maybe I'm missing it, and sometimes I'll go back and look at my records and go, oh, well, there's just one stoppage. But shooting steel worked. Shooting brass worked. All the magazines on the table worked. That's a huge win. I mean, the Ruger AR-556 initially had all kinds of problems with steel ammunition, and then for whatever reason, after a thorough lubrication, which it shouldn't need to shoot steel, it started running better. These guns had no such issue, both of them. They were 100%. Incidentally, this one does have a forward assist. I forgot to mention that on the Recon model. Dust cover, of course. Deflection plate, of course. This one I actually prefer how they do it. The Patrol, there's no forward assist. They just rubber plugged it to save weight and cost. Thank you, Savage. I wish everyone would do that. Pretty clean. Reliability, therefore, is awesome. I think durability will be phenomenal. I wouldn't change, going to accessories, I wouldn't change much about these guns. Much. The Recon, as it is, in fact, the only thing I would change, you guessed it, is the trigger. And you could smith that if you wanted. You could take it to someone like Yoda, and he could smith that down to 4 pounds for you, cheap, for about 80 bucks. That's Terry Gardner, there at Impact Guns Ogden. He does the trigger jobs. And if you want, put a $120 Rock River in it, and then you're good. I would go with a different charging handle. I'd leave that on. I'd leave that on. And amazingly, I'd leave that on, even though it's got that goofy freaking pheasant shotgun recoil pad on it. I actually like the Patrol. Granted, this one is not shooting quite as tight as I would like it to. I love the front end that Blackhawk is putting together. The Axiom is very clean. M-lock compatibility, we talked about that. If you're going to put an optic on this one, if it's going to be a red dot, you could co-witness front sight base. If you're going to go with a scope, again, I would just go with a Recon. So then you get that clean sighting plane going on down the barrel. Kind of wish I did have notes at this point. I hope I covered everything. Competitive options, swing a dead cat, like I say, and you'll run into a ton of them. Delton, Rock River, Smith & Wesson, apparently Springfield Armory, DPMS, the list goes on and on. Most are really good. There are a couple dogs in the bunch, but I think the Savage MSR-15 series of AR-15s is excellent. I really do. I'm not going to ding them too hard for that because I've seen it from every manufacturer. I'm talking about the lack of one MOA actually out of the Patrol. And if you have a problem, just send it back to them. At least the upper, which is a pretty easy send, non-firearm related. Highly recommended. I think it compares very favorably, incidentally, against the Saint. And between these two, it's really a toss-up of which one I would go with, in case you're wondering. Do I get a Saint? Do I get an MSR-15? Here's the advantage, at least in this point of time, that Savage has over the Saint. It has the free float model out right now. Eventually, you'll see the Saint emerge with that, and they should have done it simultaneously, just like I gave kudos to Savage for doing. But as of yet, they have not done it, and that kind of sucks if you ask me. I would go with that version and don't look back. And pick out the loads that it likes. Like I'm saying, the 77, 75s, they're shooting MOA out of that thing, 5R rifling. So we're seeing typical Savage quality out of the barrel on this one. The trigger, and this is a good point, I mean, it's very non-Savage-like. I would almost expect a better trigger out of Savage. I bet you they upgrade it. They should. I am unimpressed with the trigger. Maybe something like an Acu trigger in an AR-15. Then again, maybe not. I don't know if it'd work, really. Because with a rapid-fire situation, you want a blade there, you have to actuate every time. Probably not. That's it, dudes. Review is out. By the way, that's another cool Casio watch. Link in the bottom. I think that's a GA 1100 series, or 1000 series. This is one in OD. See ya!